This is the last video and the last section for Chapter 8 on the stock market. And in this video, we're talking about dividend income. We'll talk about the concepts of shareholders splitting the profit of a corporation they own, compute dividend income, compute the yield for a given stock, and also compute the interest earned on corporate bonds. Okay? So the first thing to discuss or to understand is that sometimes companies give dividends to their stockholders as a way of saying, thank you for owning our stock. Okay? Now you may think, why would a company want to do this? And the reason is because by giving some money to their stockholders, it'll keep the value of their stock high and also may raise the value of their stock. Okay, so that's why they give money back to stockholders, and those are called dividends. Okay, so our first vocabulary word is dividend income. That is money received because a person owns stock in a company and the company paid part of its profit to shareholders. Okay, so you can receive that. Now there's usually two options of what to do with dividends. Okay, you can either receive that money as income, or you can choose to reinvest it. Okay, so just be aware that that's the option you have when you're investing money, is to either reinvest the dividends or you can receive that money as income. Okay, but it's money received because a person owns stock in a company and the company paid part of its profit to shareholders. Okay, the next word is income stock. Okay, and income stock are simply stocks that pay dividends. So if a stock pays dividends, it's an income stock. Okay, the next word to talk about is a growth stock. Okay, a growth stock are stocks that are bought by investors who want to buy low and sell high. Okay, they're hoping that by buying this stock, it'll then grow in value, and then they can sell it later on when it's higher, and therefore they have made money by that stock growing. So what's called a growth stock is where they want that stock to raise in value. Okay, the last word, a vocabulary word, is a corporate bond. Okay, it's a loan to a corporation, and the corporation agrees to pay the bondholder. These bonds operate more like a savings account where you will get a certain set price percentage the longer as long as you hold that bond. Okay, so that's the vocabulary. You can go ahead and pause the video if you need more time to copy these vocabulary words down. But let's talk about some math problems that involved dividend income. The first problem is about Roberta. Roberta is considering purchasing a common stock that pays an annual dividend of $2.13 per share. If she purchases 700 shares for $45.16 per share, what would her annual income be from dividends? Okay, so the question is about her annual income from dividends. Well, she would get an annual dividend of $2.13 per share. $2.13 per share, right? How many shares? She'd buy 700 shares. So what is $2.13 times 700? And that would be $1,491. Okay, it's true we did not use the price, the share price. We will use that in other problems. In this problem, it's just asking for the annual income from dividends. And so you take the dividend per share and multiply by the number of shares. Okay, all right. Number two, Elise owns 2,000 shares of a corporation that pays quarterly dividends of 51 cents per share. How much would she expect to receive in a year? Well, she gets quarterly dividends of 51 cents per share, and she owns 2,000 shares, which means that she would receive, if you multiply those together, $1,020 per quarter. Okay, that's 4 times a year. Okay, so if she gets $1,020 4 times a year, then her annual in a year, to respect in a year, is $1,020 times 4, because 4 times a year would be $4,080 per year from this stock. Okay? Okay, those two are both kind of similar. Number 3, Kristen owns common stock in Max's Toy Den. The annual dividend is $1.40. The current price is $57.40 per share. What is the yield of the stock to the nearest 0.1%? This is a new calculation for us, and that is yield. And that is computed by yield is equal to the annual dividends per share. That's kind of embarrassing. I actually realized that I just misspelled this. Annual dividend per share divided by the current price of 1 share. Okay, so the annual dividend is $1.40 per share, and the current price of the share is $57.40 times 100, make it a percent, and that would give us 2.4%. Okay, so that's the yield from dividends. Okay, number 4, 1 share of BeepCo preferred stock pays an annual dividend of $1.20. Today, BeepCo closed at $34.50 with a net change of negative 50 cents. What was the stock's yield at yesterday's closing price? Right, so it's just a little bit tricky because it's asking about yesterday's closing price. If it was today's, then I would use the $34.50. But it is not asking about today's closing price. It's what's the stock yield based on yesterday's closing price? Well, the net change is 50 cents, which means that today's close price is 50 cents less than yesterday's. So if you know today's close price of $34.50, and that's after it dropped by 50 cents, then what was yesterday's closing price? Well, that'd be $34.50 plus 50 cents. Okay, so because you're going backwards in time, you'll be changing the sign of that negative to a positive. Okay, because so today's close price is lower, so you have to add the 50 cents. And that gives you that yesterday's close price was $35 even. Okay, so with that in mind, it is very much like the previous problem, where we take the annual dividend per share, $1.20, and divide by the closing price, which we just found is $35, times 100 to make it a percent, and we get 3.4%. Okay, so those are two problems about yield, about stock dividend yield. Okay, this might be an important formula for questions like that. The last two questions have to do with corporate bonds. Adam bought a $1,000 corporate bond at the Lebate Corporation. The bond pays 5.7% interest per year. How much does Adam receive in interest each year from this bond? Well, it pays 5.7% interest, and so you'll take $1,000 and multiply by 5.7% as a decimal, so I'm going to go this way 2 places, and go 0.057 as a decimal. And that gives you $57 each year. Okay. One thing to be aware of is that bonds bonds interest is computed using simple interest. So we could have done this problem using I equals PRT if we wanted to, where the principal is 1,000, the rate is 0.057, and the T was 1 year, and that would have given me the exact same $57. Okay. Now in number 6, if Adam holds the bond from example 5, not 6, for 11 years, how much will he receive in total interest? Well, again, bonds are computed using simple interest, and so it's based on the bond amount of $1,000. It will not compound, and you won't get more and more money each year. It's based on the principal. Okay, so you'll get $57 each year, and you'll get that every year for 11 years. So in total, Adam would get a total of $627 over those 11 years. Okay, this video was about dividend income. We talked about the idea of companies sharing profits with the shareholders. We talked about how to compute dividend income. We talked about yield for a given stock. And we also talked about interest earned on corporate bonds. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.